Good morning, and welcome back to our Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. You may hear my little one in the background. We're getting ready to drop him off for school. But I wanted to hop on here because there is a really interesting topic that I would love to get your insights and comments on. And the topic is around, what do you do when people change towards you as you're growing in your success? And over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've been having this discussion with people, just in the course of, our photo shoots, our branding shoots, or meeting with my marketing clients. It's popped up a couple of times, like, hey, I'm having this situation with some really close friends and they're just treating me differently, but I'm not changing, but I'm growing and doing different things, and it just seems like people are not showing up for me in the same way, or they're not calling me as much anymore. And I can tell you personally, and I would love to hear some of your insights. It's something that I have dealt with, and it's something that's been really hard for me to deal with over the years. I've learned now how to handle it differently. And I'm going to share really quickly what I do, and I would love to hear some of your insights. But one of the hardest things to do when you're growing your business or in your going up that corporate ladder is when the people that you used to have fun with and go to lunch with and coffee with and talk with change. For me, what was really hard about it was I'm a relationship person. I really do love, checking in on people, going to lunch, having coffee, learning about their lives, not just about their business and careers, but about who they are. And I used to have people that would work with me and we would have the best relationship. And then when the contract was complete, I wouldn't hear from them. And I would follow up and check in. How you doing? How's so-and-so? How's your husband, kids? And it was like the conversation was very different. I've had it on the other side too. As my business started to grow, people weren't always as kind. It was really, and I used to think, and I don't know if you've all experienced this, I used to beat myself up thinking, what am I doing? Did I do something wrong? I'm replaying conversations. I'm going through all of this. And I had to learn one day to stop. I had to really stop beating myself up if other people decide to do something different. It's not a negative on them. It's not anything that I can say, I don't like you because of this, nothing like that. But I had to stop beating myself up for growing and changing. I had to stop beating myself up because here's the truth. When you're building your career and people say you change, yes, you do. That's the truth. You may not change in terms of how you treat people, but you can't help but to change when you're experiencing growth in a business because you're going to manage things differently. Growing a business, as we all know, sharpens things within us, changes things within us, not for the bad, oftentimes for the good. And sometimes when you're growing and changing, obviously you show up differently in situations. Again, those things are not negative. Those things are part of the journey. I am not the same 19-year-old that started my business many, many years ago. The things that I've learned now, my skin has gotten very toughened over the years. I've learned more about people. I've learned more about myself. I learned more about how to balance all kinds of things. So yes, you do change. Your priorities shift a little bit, but it doesn't mean that you still can't be the friend, the colleague, all the different roles that we play. And so often when someone says that, or I hear someone says that, maybe not directly to me, but just in our conversation that, hey, they say I've changed. I ask them, have you? Think about all the things that you have become and the strength that you're gaining, the courage for stepping out and creating and building and putting yourself out there. All of those things do change you. The more you're more vulnerable in sharing your journey, sharing who you are, sharing what you're about, you become strengthened, you become stronger. And more importantly, you take more of a care to what you're presenting to the world. So yeah, there are some shifts and changes, but it doesn't mean that the relationships usually have to change. And I had to come to a point where I realized I can't have one-sided relationships. And I'm also not going to beat myself up if someone chooses not to be in my life anymore. And so I would love to ask you, when you're in situations like this, I would love to comment below some of your insights, because this is an ongoing conversation that I'm finding that many women are experiencing, because it's not easy, because oftentimes you don't ever get the choice to make to shift that relationship, if that makes sense. Like, you're thinking you're in one thing and all of a sudden it's shifted on the other person's side, and it was so abrupt or different or unexpected, if you will. And if you are in that situation, let me just encourage you on this before I close this out. Be okay with letting go relationships that are one-sided. If you find that you're always trying to keep things going, but that person doesn't seem to be receptive, it's okay to step back and say, you know what, whether this is a seasonal thing or a permanent thing, I'm going to step back with the knowledge that I know that I didn't do anything to offend. I know I didn't do anything to change the relationship. Let me use that word. I'm a big believer if I have to step away, I like to step away and make sure that I don't burn a bridge unless it's necessary. But I try not to. I always try to step away, making sure that my heart is clear. Like there's nothing that I've done or said or anything that could have caused whatever situation in the relationship. Second, don't beat yourself up, because growth is necessary and growth is inevitable, especially when you're trying to grow and build your respective businesses. You can't help but change some aspects of yourself, and those growth aspects are good things, especially when you're becoming better and more sharpened, and more importantly, you're showing up in a more confident way that you've desired to be. And third and last, one of the things I've realized is when you're growing, and you guys know I'm a big believer in the whole farmer mentality, seeding, cultivating, harvesting. You have to prune, and there are things that you're going to have to prune. And unfortunately, sometimes that can't be relationships. But what I also learned is the more that you keep seeding and cultivating the things that you are, seeding and cultivating relationships around you, you will always be blessed with good relationships. I just believe that wholeheartedly. Even if some go, I always believe that right ones stay and new ones can be developed. So I just want to encourage you that if you're in that season where things are shifting and changing, just consider that maybe that season is up. Just consider that, you know what? It's not me. This is not me. Like, self-check yourself, but make sure it's not you. Maybe that's something that they have to work through. And you know what? Step back and release your hands from it, because there's no point in trying to hold on to something that doesn't want to be held on to. So I just wanted to offer just some encouragement in that space. I would love to hear some insights on this, because I just believe, just based off the conversation I'm having, this is an ongoing discussion. And sometimes hearing other people's perspectives or their views on it can actually be something that can encourage someone today. So I would love for you to post below, and I will see you again.